Many years ago, a man called Haruna, a hard-working man, got married to a pretentious woman called Mariam. Mariam had every bad behavior you could ever think of, but she hid her true nature to marry Haruna because no one else would marry her. She gave birth to 3 children while their father was trying to teach them hard work, honesty, and good character. Their mother was bent on making them like herself. She turned the children against their father and they hated him with a passion. They never rendered any assistance to their father, yet they made so much financial demands from him, and when he refused, they teamed up and fought him. Haruna owned a vineyard and a wine factory. Every month end, when his workers were paid, his children would ambush some of them and collect their salaries, leaving them with nothing. This made most of them quit, whereas the rest adopted some measures such as going to work with dogs or weapons. Haruna was tired of his children's behavior and sometimes wished he wasn't their father. One day, his wife and children requested for a huge sum of money and Haruna told them he didn't have it. They held him down at home, trying to force him to release the money. They searched his pockets, his room, and everywhere, but did not find a dime. So they began asking him where he kept all the money. Haruna laughed hysterically and said, "You all will have to work for your own money. If anything happens to me today, all my wealth will go to charity. You evil children will not get a dime, I promise you." Mariam and her children sat down and began plotting on how to find out where their father hid his money. They would turn everywhere upside down even if it killed them. They trailed their father secretly every day but couldn't find anything. They asked some of the workers closest to Haruna, but none of them seemed to know anything. One rainy Monday morning, Haruna went to the top of the village mountain to inspect one of his vineyards. While doing so, his children snuck up on him, trying to force him to tell them where he had hidden all his wealth. In the process, they went physical. His son took a very big piece of rock and hit him on his head. Haruna fell to the ground and stopped breathing. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean to do it," his son cried. They were all confused because that meant a very big problem. They looked around to make sure no one saw what had happened, and they decided to throw Haruna from the mountaintop so that people would conclude that he had committed suicide. So they all joined hands and rolled Haruna from the mountaintop, and he fell. Blood gushed from his head and flowed into a nearby stream. They hurried home and told their mother what they had done. Their mother did not flinch. She told them it was time to go and take over the wine business. After 3 days, Haruna's workers began looking for him. They went to his house, but he wasn't there. Haruna's wife raised alarm, telling everyone her husband was missing. A search party was organized, and Haruna's decaying body was found. Since the body had begun to decay, they decided to bury him where his body was found. The mourning period was over, and Haruna's family decided to take over the wine business. They were surprised that Haruna's death did not slow down the business. Someone had in fact taken charge of the business, and the workers seemed to know him. When Mariam saw the young man in charge, her heart nearly stopped. He looked exactly like Haruna. She asked him who he was and why he had taken over her husband's business. He told Mariam that Haruna was his father. The age difference between him and Mariam's first child was just a year. It happened that Haruna secretly met and married a second wife because of how treacherous Mariam was. He predicted there was no future with Mariam, so he created another with a second wife. Mariam, upon hearing this, had a stroke. Her children had to carry her home. Because there was no money to care for her, it didn't take long, Mariam died. Nobody knew for real how Haruna died. People suspected his children had something to do with it. Because they never learned anything or worked hard, they lived in penury and never tasted of their father's wealth. Please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Story Safari.